Podcast, a platform created to entertain, educate, and evolve the modern-day deer hunter.
I should know better. The Deer Hunter Podcast kind of is like a marathon type of
Destroyer
podcast.
Of days.
Hello.
Well, we're breaking this one up. Even though we've been sitting in the studio for the same night, we're breaking this up into a couple different episodes. Reason being, next couple weeks I plan on doing a lot more deer hunting and a lot less computer time. So,
stockpile.
Yeah, they're going to be shorter episodes, but I feel like we got some good content in them. You know, I'm not just piling on some shitty guests for everybody to listen to so I get downloads. I'm just trying to get
shitty guests.
We're out the heavy hitters tonight.
Just shitty guests.
just shitty guests. Just local shitty guests. Not trying to reach out. That was rude.
Well, yeah, that was kind of like that guy that did a podcast a month ago. I was like,
Hey,
wait, I was a guest on the show.
Thanks for coming over, guys. Not my first option. But thanks for
You know what it is? I listen to a ton of deer hunting, probably too many podcasts in general.
Yeah.
Stupid.
My sound's got to... I can't hear myself. There we go.
Yeah, so I feel like I just get irritated when you can tell real instantly when people are putting shows out just to get like downloads. Like the content
Just
is
to put
like
a show
so
Yeah,
I guess our content could be very subpar to a lot of people too.
Well,
most likely.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Relatively subpar.
I feel we're more real life.
I think that with the podcast and the people, obviously you're listening to it because of the content. That's what draws you to it. But
Right.
it's the personalities that you can relate with or you just find entertaining or whatever. You know, I think that's what kind of keeps you listening to some of these podcasts. At least me personally.
So
'Cause if I think the guy's a dickhead, I'm not going to listen to him, even if he's talking about good stuff.
what I want to do right now is just cover some up to date kind of information. And the rut's starting today when we're recording this. It's what, October 26th?
It was 32 degrees this morning.
32 degrees this morning. Big cold front just moved in. I
Got
pulled the trail
frost.
camera card yesterday. Real heavy morning movement that I have not been seeing at all through October is now happening. I had one camera in particular. 75% of the photos were between 7 and 10 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of morning activity right now.
That is exactly why this is going to be a short podcast for me, because I'm going hunting in the morning.
Good for you.
Why's your microphone turned down so much? Powerful Russell was on
Yeah,
your channel.
that's why it smells like menthol cigarettes too.
Nice. Drew's going to start smoking tomorrow. It's like, I might as well just join him.
Russ pulling back his bow with a cig hanging off his lips.
I know a lot of guys that do that. Kill a lot of deer, too. I know a lot of guys that have to put their cigarette down to shoot a deer.
Joe Morrison shot that big 8-point, smoking a cigarette, reading a book in his deer blind.
If the wind's right, you can do whatever you want. You
Yeah.
can fart and drink coffee
I try
and
not
smoke
to fart
cigarettes.
in the woods, but I do.
The woods thanks you.
After sharing a teepee with him for 4 days, wasn't as lucky as the woods apparently.
Do you feel like you're just camped out in the outhouse at Buckhorn?
He's just got this weird thing about him
It's
where
like
he doesn't
stew pot.
fart in the woods.
Yeah,
He
I
saves
can't-
them all until he
I
gets
gotta
back
wait
to
until
camp.
I'm in an enclosed space to fart, guys. I'm
Just
sorry.
smells like denim, cedar chips, and lime.
That's a weird combination.
Oddly specific.
Wow.
Well, I want to talk about the rut, not Ryan's gas.
Right.
Rut tactics. You got any good ones that you're going to utilize? What's your plan here over the next couple weeks? Lay it out for me.
And the tactics.
I know that you've kind of banked your entire year around these next couple weeks and what you got going on. So I know you've been thinking about it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, banked is a pretty accurate term. I worked all that overtime, and this was one of the main reasons I did it. Our first Ohio trip was it was a success. We didn't take any deer. We didn't punch any tags out, but we saw some good action. The weather was ridiculously hot. We were sitting, I would say, about 50% of stuff that Jason and I had scouted and 50% new.
Yeah.
I'd say it was pretty much good half and half type of deal. And everybody was 100% mobile setup, and we pretty much 99% of the time we set our stand up and took them back down, except for the last night when a couple of guys left their stands up to hunt the next morning. But I counted, actually even brought, this is the first season I started a hunting journal. I've got 14 hunts logged on this right now, so I'm trying to learn something from that too. But my tactic for the next couple weeks, well, it's really kicked off with the Ohio trip, and then I've got a few things going on, but then I'm planning on going back down to Ohio before the Michigan gun opener when their rut gets going. I'm gonna probably hit the same area we went to and maybe another one. I actually had a guy contact me today who said that if things are going good where they're hunting, and he hunts down there every year now, him and his son, he invited me to come down there and shoot one, and they're seeing him and his son kill 150 to 160 inch deer almost every single year.
Was it the guy we met down there?
No.
All right.
No, I did text him though. But I'm going to be running 100% mobile. I'm going to hit some of the areas I've already checked out, and I've went and it was back in March when we scouted. I found scrapes and rubs and deer trail and activity, and two of the spots, well, really all three of the spots where we had buck sightings were pre-scouted in March.
Yeah.
So that I feel really good about. That shows right there your scouting, your pre-work, preseason work comes into play big time. It really saves you in the season. It makes you more efficient.
Well, the big deer that I saw was in one of your spots, so.
Yeah.
It was the first morning. I didn't know where to go or
It was on that ridge right by that ag. And I'm sure we could have picked 10 different ridges with ag and seen a buck, but, you know, it was scouted and it produced a nice deer. And then where me and Jason sat, really he was going to hunt across the road. I saw that nice buck on this exact spot that I scouted, which was pretty cool. So anyways, I'm going to run down to Ohio again. I'm going to use a lot of stuff I've learned from Dan and John and different people, you know, books I've read and life lessons that I've made to move around and make adjustments, to pick my stand locations wisely, but, you know, not get stuck in trying to make up your mind, because I've been there too, like, oh, do I go here, do I go there? I really like a big thing that you told me you heard from somebody is you find the first spot you think is good and sit it. So a lot of times too,
Mario Traficante.
Yeah.
Yep. And I want to make sure too, if I sit in a new spot I haven't sat, that I've learned this lesson too. I don't want to just sit some real thick stuff. That could be something good because there's good activity, whether it's rub scrapes or just trails. I want to sit in an area where I can observation stand, so I can see for, you know, at least 60, 70 yards in almost every direction and catch deer movement. So that's my basics. My plan, and I'm trying to adjust and be more efficient and quiet. I'm down to 10, 15 minutes quietly setting up my lone wolf. I'm pretty proud of that. It's become really easy.
Yeah.
So anybody out there that's thinking about making the switch from just their stationary ladder stand or their hang-on stand to a climber would be I would say a climber is more like entry level for a lot of people, but I would recommend the some type of a step system with the hang-on stand. So versatile. I've climbed some crazy trees. There's a lot of companies that have got designs that let you sit crooked. You know, so look into that.
I would say that a climber is detrimental even.
Yeah, because you start to concentrate on the wrong thing. You have to find a tree that you can get up with a climber, and that a lot of times will eliminate.
It's very
so-
limiting.
You
Limits
gotta
you.
go hang and hunt.
But if you have the right
know,
spot.
if you know the spot's good, like you said, Kevin, if you know the
Right.
spot's good before you go in,
Yeah.
with hardwoods that have very little
But-
branches, or
With any hang and hunt, you're going to be able to hunt that same tree
You will.
anyways.
the only thing
So
you
the
get.
climber, you have to look for that specific straight tree
Yes,
where, yeah, I can
It's
get
not
in there
versatile.
with my lone wolf.
right.
But I can also get in multi-stem trees with my lone wolf. I can do all kinds of stuff with the lone wolf. So I
So-
say if you're going to invest the money, put it towards,
You see where my climber is.
right?
I used
It's
the
just
heck
hanging
out of
there
my.
on the
I used the
wall,
heck out of
man.
my
It's
climber when
just-
I bought it, and I did use it a lot.
We keep saying lone wolf just because
That's what we bought.
That's what we have. But there's other options out there. Like Hawk makes some really affordable stuff.
Right.
The Helium series, XOP is another brand. There's
Yep.
other brands that make it.
There's new and
Dan
upcomers.
Fault's coming out with
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
talked about
That's
that
a-
on the
that's a-
recent podcast, and then I talked to him about it after. That's exciting.
That is.
It sounds like the steps after season are gonna be starting to be available to some select people as far as he can get, as fast as he can get them out, and then just depending on which way he decides to market and sell them, he's hoping that anybody will have access to them next hunting season. Now he can't guarantee that on the stand. The stand still needs some work. Obviously, there's a lot of illegal issues anytime you're making something like this for protection and whatnot, liability
right.
things. But he's excited about it. It's going to happen. And in seeing and hearing about some of the details of it, you know,
Can you give us any information about the stand as far as size or maybe what it's made of?
He said that it was about a third lighter.
I will tell you what it's made out of is extremely exciting. I assume that it will make it cost more. I don't see how it couldn't, but potentially it would be around the same cost.
Maybe
I
like
don't
a
know.
Carbon fiber type of.
Nope. It's metal, but
So-
I'm not. It's like a big part of the whole deal.
Right.
So
You're not gonna let the cat out of the bag for Dan.
He
nope.
did say his steps were just a little over a pound. You know, when that last.
Yeah, 1.3.
That's a pound. It's like a pound and a half lighter than the lone wolf.
Mario.
A lot of them.
Mario, I think, told me that that entire setup is almost about half the weight of the lone wolf.
So you're looking at like
Wow.
10,
Does that sound
11 pounds.
possible?
I don't know.
Could it be
I thought Dan said,
2/3 the weight?
I thought he said 2/3,
Okay.
which
'Cause-
is a more believable number.
Okay.
The
That's
lo-
still
the whole
dramatic,
lone
right?
wolf
Oh,
setup
it's
is
huge.
probably.
'Cause how much is the
That's
whole-
8 pounds. 2/3.
Right.
Or the lone wolf with the steps
30?
24 pounds.
And that was
With
my.
the- Yep, the alpha stand is 14 pounds, and then 4 steps at 2.5 pounds
10
apiece
pounds.
is 24 pounds.
Does that? I wonder if that includes all the straps. You know what I mean? I wonder if they include the
Well,
the
buckle
seat
hardware.
and the buckle hardware. I'm just curious.
I'm just
of how
going
they
off
weigh it.
of what the actual specs are
Yeah.
on the
Right.
Lone Wolf website. If you want to stand on the scale and have somebody hand you your stand with sticks and determine the exact weight, it
I
could
need to
be
do that.
different. But
There's ways you could drop weight by milling out material, but that's just gonna.
He
add
did a
to
lot
extra-
of that, right? I mean, you could see that in the photo online. If you see the steps and stuff, they have a bunch of holes all drilled through them, and strategically, a big part of it was taking weight down, which I'll say is my only complaint. And I haven't even hunted with your guys' setups, but when I put them on here in the garage, I imagined if I had to go a long distance through some nasty stuff, that it was going to be.
I found it really not bad. I mean, you
Wasn't
know it's
bad.
there, but
big
I don't
difference
know.
is though I spent a lot of time preparing for it. Like it wasn't.
You condition yourself.
I got up for the last year and a half. I've been getting up, going to the gym and whatnot, and just trying to.
it's gonna be
Make-
tough for a lazy fat guy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like if you're a lazy fat guy that just thinks you're gonna buy a lone wolf and become a super deer hunter, and you're gonna.
It's physical. When you set them up,
Yeah.
there's a physical aspect to it.
So can we move on? Well, I want to talk a little bit more about mobile hunting, a couple more details about that. But as far as everybody is on the rut, at least us three, I think it's the same thing, right? Spring scouting, we did a lot of it.
Yep.
A lot of it.
We marked a lot of beds and old rubs and scrapes and
Mm-hmm.
picked up a lot. We went out in early spring and picked up a lot of last year's sign.
And that March March time frame, or, early April. That's
And planned a lot around it. My GPS is loaded with.
the big thing
different
we're
points.
using a lot is the Onyx too. I don't know if we talk about that ever.
We talked about it on. Yeah.
We touched
Okay.
on it.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, it's
We covered it.
yeah, that's one of a great tool for anybody out there who especially doesn't have a big piece of property. And even if you have a piece of property, I highly recommend going to look at public too, because you're going to want to find your best opportunity is finding a lot of opportunities. So that meaning you're going to go out, you're going to scout a lot of different pieces of land. And
Right.
to do that, you're going to need to scout public land, unless you know 100 different people that have private that are going to let you hunt it.
A big
You know?
thing that I'm implying this season that I haven't in the years past is I don't ever intend to sit the same place twice. I may sit the same area, but I'm not going to be in the same tree ever twice.
Really, I might be.
I might. Yeah, because the
I'm
tree
not.
I sat last night was awesome. Even though I didn't
Even
see
in-
any deer, it was still an awesome tree, an awesome spot.
In
If I go
Ohio-
into a spot and it's like happening, and I see a good evidence that I think that I could kill a big deer there,
Yeah.
and I think I'm getting in and out of there without him knowing, I'll hunt that place.
I'm not going to
couple
get
times.
stuck in my head, though, to hunt the same
if that
place.
happens
No.
to me, I'm going to sit 3 trees over. That's just, I'm not sitting the same
It's
tree.
a personal thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
What if there's only one tree? That's good.
I'm going to leave Drew alone on this. I'm going to say, Drew, you find the different
I
trees
will
and you
find
sit them.
another
Okay,
tree.
no, that's what this is. That's what this is all about, is to reflect on what everybody's. But we can all kind of agree that that's our plan. Is we're gonna mobile hunt.
Yeah.
We're not going to the
I
same
enjoy
spots.
it.
We're
It
not
adds another level to my hunt that I really like.
I have,
It's like grocery shopping.
still gonna
you know?
utilize pinch
Oh.
points and
yeah. I have
transition
some
areas.
stands-
Not all bedding, right? Like
Oh,
still,
no.
still
no.
travel corridors.
Travel corridors, some of the milling stuff in the woods on travel corridors.
Yeah, does
Food
where
sources.
does are going to be feeding, right?
Yeah. So, buy the acorns on the way to, through. They're constantly moving all day. So,
Yeah.
but then you change your tactics for morning and night, right? So in the evening, you're going to want to kind of sit on their travel route to ag, to some type of food source. In the morning, you're going to want to basically do the same thing or be on their way back to bedding.
Right.
Basically you're on their way back to bedding for the morning. So you need to.
So you want to hear just my 2 cents on something that I observed last year and that I reflected on for a couple years now, and I find it to be consistent, at least on my farm, is that this time of year the bucks will typically bed around 100 yards off the food sources or closer to
The
where
majors, like the final food source,
to the food sources that does are traveling to in the evening to feed. For 2 reasons. One, they can monitor the doe traffic, and in most circumstances where I've seen them,
They use the does to test the water.
they bed close enough to those food sources where they can see any human coming in or going out to watch and know if you're hunting there. I've
Yeah.
seen it a couple
No.
years in a
Well,
row now.
Well, the young dumb deer just go out first. I mean, you've seen a button buck. The button buck's the dumbest one in the woods.
Right.
Little young deer, and it a lot of times, I don't know if they're letting it go first, but it's just it's going there first out of habit, maybe because it's been brought there. But I agree with that.
I feel like if you're hunting a mature deer in a pressured area and you're going to a food source in the evening, it's really, really hard to get in there without a mature buck knowing that you came in, because I feel like he's
You
bedding.
can't be on that food source. Yeah, that's a worse to shoot a doe. That's probably your best bet, I think, unless it's later. I think then in the rut or when it gets colder out. But I think you need to be 50 to 70 yards in the woods on the way to that food source.
I would agree, but
the
how
staging
do you,
area.
How do you get that distance? You got to get in there before the buck's in bed in the morning. How
for a
else?
morning set? You're saying?
I'm saying for all the whole. How do you go in there in the afternoon if the buck's bedded 100 yards and you're going to go in 50? He's going to know you're there. He's going to see you come in.
Just
he's
like
gonna
Dan
watch you.
Infalt, you're going to need to find that way to get as close to that buck.
It's tough to do in like dry leaves
It
and
is
everything.
tough.
And Dan's some type of ninja, and I think he hunts a little different terrain than what we hunt here, for sure.
Right.
Because if you think you're gonna walk through the woods in the afternoon and
You're going to have to
within-
pick that opportunity, that windy day or whatever. You're going to have to find a way
Yeah.
to get there.
I think-
Otherwise, you're not going to shoot that buck.
I think
anyways,
there's a
you
big
know?
benefit in a lot
If
of
you're not gonna hunt 'em.
what John Eberhart talks about, going in 90 minutes to an hour early before the deer come into bed, being in there. And you guys
in their bed.
being in anywhere that you think that they might move throughout the day. I think you can set yourself up for your evening hunt by getting in there in the morning before the deer bed. You can be in a position in the evening where they would not think they've sat there all day. They've been there all day. They've watched this section. They haven't seen anybody come in or out all day. They feel safe. They feel confident that no one's there. And they will get up and they will move. But if you try to come in at 3:30 in the afternoon for an evening hunt, they're very well potentially, from what I've seen, hunting on my farm, when I've gone in before daylight and got set up, I've watched these bucks come in bed in a position where historically, if I was coming in for how I used to hunt, they would have watched me walk into the woods. And over the years, they were watching me. They were watching me come into the woods. But by getting in there early in the morning and sitting all day, I've had to have Russell come out there and drive a car through to kick deer up to get them out of there when I couldn't sit all day because I had commitments. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it has the last podcast too that you did with Dan. The deer will hear something, or see something, and if it's not too threatening to them, after a certain amount of time, they're going to forget that.
Right. No doubt.
It might take
Makes a
2
lot
hours.
of sense, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was not an epiphany, but it made me think of, oh, duh, I already knew that, but it makes you remember that.
But
I
if they
think it can help
physically
you out.
see you, I have this mindset now whenever I step foot out in the woods or I'm going anywhere where I do any
Full
deer hunting,
camo.
that deer are just watching me. I just assume they're watching me, and I act like I'm not doing hunting related things. I don't go on my property where I'm going to hunt without a chainsaw. I go out there and act like I'm cutting firewood. I might only be going out there to change a trail camera card.
You carrying a chainsaw with
I
you?
take a chainsaw with me, and I'll cut a couple trees, and little trees,
This
whatever.
is blowing my mind right now.
I'll run the saw. I'll run the saw.
Never known anybody else to do that.
Will cardboard saw make the noises?
Well, you know what deer correlate in their head chainsaws with is food.
You condition them.
Yeah, it's exactly. They realize that people are typically cutting trees down, and that, the canopy, parts of the canopy are going to be laying there on the ground, little buds and sticks and stuff that they love to eat.
You're ringing Pavlov's bell by
Yep.
firing up the chainsaw.
Yep. And I just
Dang.
assume that they're watching me.
Steer
So why would
drone.
I go out there and tip them off to what I'm doing? I'm going to act like I'm going out there. I'm going to cut some
Set up a
firewood.
lawn chair and read a book. Just
It's like out west. Gunshots a dinner bell for the Grizz.
just bring a 6-pack of beer and walk around. You know?
That's exactly kind of what I'm doing. So I camouflage what I'm doing on my small property by not doing
Well,
deer hunting.
because the deer observe the human behavior, so it makes sense. So they're saying, "Oh, he's not hunting; he's just
Right.
chopping a tree saw down or
Yep.
doing something." Weird.
And until I go in there to hunt the one time, I'll try to go in there in the morning.
You might want to start carrying a chainsaw with your bow, maybe.
Now, obviously, I have to say,
Nothing weird going on here, dear. Just cutting down a tree.
when I do go to hunt, I do not carry a chainsaw.
Wow. Well,
And I do not carry a
I'm-
chainsaw when I hunt public land.
You
So
don't
this is
drag-
only a tactic that I would say.
I'd
I
bring a
think
small one,
I
like
think
a
it would
Echo.
work if a guy has a 20-acre property and you got to go out there and even check a trail camera card, or you're going to put a tree stand up. Take a chainsaw. The second you just step out of the truck, fire the thing up. Let the deer know that you're there. They know you're there already. They know you're coming anyways. They're going to see you or smell you later in the night.
Russ is dying over here.
Fire that saw, and then when you go in and do your thing, just disguise your activity. Don't act like you're doing deer hunting things.
Well, that's a big thing with checking trail cameras. They always say you should ride a four-wheeler in.
Right. Let the
If
deer
you're
know
just
that you're
trying to
coming.
sneak to your camera.
Or they say
screwed.
open your
Yeah.
truck doors and blare the radio.
Right, let them know.
Don't try to creep around like a predator. They know you're there. They're going to come there later
Don't play
tonight.
Fred Bear by Ted Nugent when you're getting out of the truck.
What was it?
Tip him off.
Was it Sam Ubel? He said he had footage, or one of the guys you were talking to. So they had
Yeah, his
footage.
friend James.
Yeah, of pictures of the deer, like kind of poking his head out of the woods, watching him drive away. You can see his 4-wheeler taillights in the photo.
Yep, him and I talked a lot about this because he had seen a lot of the same things that I had seen over the years, and he actually was like a little bit, I think, ahead of me in this thought process but he does the same thing. He doesn't go out there and do these things only specifically deer hunting related. He'll, like I said, make a task out of it,
Right.
go out there, cut some firewood while he does this stuff. Historically I would try to be as quiet and as quick as possible, and now it's just I don't try to extend my stay out there, but I
Right.
definitely don't be quiet. I let the deer know I'm coming from a long ways away. I just don't let them know that I'm out there for the reason to kill them.
I've never used a trail cam ever before. I'd be curious to try it out, but it just sounds like there's that fine line where, like a double-edged sword,
It can hurt you.
Yeah, you can see
It
that.
can hurt you.
You can see the activity, but then it's
Gives you false hopes.
right.
Also, you can end up blowing the woods out because you're going like every 3 days to check your trail cam card.
Exactly. It's initiating you to get out there more. It's building that excitement, but you're not knowing that you could be screwing yourself at the same time by.
Yeah, you just gotta practice
Right.
discipline. And
That's what it is.
my camera I set up 5 weeks ago. I'm going to pull the card tomorrow morning because I'm sitting right by it.
Yeah.
We got a couple quick things to do here before we wrap up. We got to get you home so you can get to sleep. I got to get to work. You guys got to get to work in the morning.
Nah.
Will you Google something for me? A guy wrote in from Indiana, and he asked us to mention it on the show about that hunting law.
Oh, the shotgun law or something?
Do you know the details of it? Would you maybe want to
In
look it up?
Indiana?
Maybe that would be a smarter.
Yeah.
Because
it was-
I told
they
him
changed
I told
the
him I'd
rifle
mention it
laws.
on the show, and
Iowa.
I thought that was really silly thing that they did. Indiana.
I will read
Well,
it.
no, another one Iowa changed. I ran into a couple pipeliners that are from Iowa. They were in Ohio. We met them at the bar and talked to them for like an hour, and they said that they're going to that 450 Bushmaster thing too, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
really worried about it down there.
Oh,
I was just talking about this today.
what were they worried about?
I don't know. They just think that people are going to start just killing a lot more bucks and younger bucks and stuff like that. I think they've got a strict
Dude, that
archery
slug gun.
season too. Like
My 12 gauge slug gun. Well, I'll shoot that gun any day of the week.
Yeah. Illegal.
Those 450s are pretty badass.
A Thompson Center Pro Hunter, most inline muzzleloaders, if you work the right charge, can shoot accurately up to 200 yards.
Oh
No
yeah.
problem. No questions asked.
But you
Yeah,
don't, you
what's
don't,
that
you don't have
Bushmaster
that
good
follow-up
for?
shot though. I mean, you are
150.
Yeah, about the same.
yeah. You
You
don't
know,
get the
that-
follow-up shot.
Right,
with
that's
the
all it
muzzleloader.
is.
For the inexperienced hunters
How
and
often
the guys.
have you gotten a follow-up shot? I mean,
Oh, I've shot a deer more than once.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't you? If you haven't been out in the woods and shot a deer more than once,
my gun only shoots once.
All right,
well, I
let's-
mean,
It's
I've shot a deer more than once. I've been hunting for a long time.
it's
and
the range though. That's the thing. It's
Indiana. Indiana deer and waterfowl hunters need to be aware of two important changes in the print version of the 2017-2018 Hunting and Trapping Guide. Due to recent legislation passed this year by the Indiana General Assembly, hunters can no longer use rifles when hunting deer on public land. Public land includes both state and federal property. Before the change, the use of rifles on public land had been legal. It remains legal to use muzzleloaders, shotguns, or handguns when hunting deer on public land in accordance with the deer hunting regulations.
that's brutal.
Before
That doesn't bother me at
Now
all.
listen, here's the big thing, and here's why the guy wrote in. When this happened, it didn't get put in their state game book
That's a big
for
thing.
the year. So when
It's too late.
the state hunting book came out, it didn't talk about it. It didn't.
big
There was
change.
nothing in there, and it's a huge ordeal.
Yeah.
And it was Thomas Riggins that brought it to our
Thanks,
attention.
Tom.
So,
It was a good topic to touch on.
yep. And,
That's crazy though. At the last minute, like
Right.
It's
Hey,
like you
by
gotta-
the way, guys.
Yeah, it was like having a leased property, and then a month before the season starts, the guy saying, "Oh, I sold it."
Yeah.
Right.
People should be notified of it at a legal level. You know.
Well, that's kind of been a
Well,
just-
it's all of
that's-
our
that's-
responsibility.
that's
That's our
piss-
sportsman's responsibility, but that is pretty crazy.
That's
to
piss
change.
poor management
Yeah.
by the state or by their game agency to not get that in their print.
definitely somebody dropped the ball. Multiple people dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, it's
Why don't you
ridiculous.
find some Indiana DNR agent or something to talk to?
We
Get to the bottom of this.
I'm actually
We
gonna-
want somebody's job.
want answers.
That's been a huge debate down here in the shotgun zone.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
What-
Imagine driving 5 to 6 hours up north to use our prized heirloom hunting rifles, or one that we look forward to using at a certain time of year, only to find out that, hey, you can't do that anymore.
Or worse yet, you shoot a deer
And
and you're dragging it out of the
Oh,
woods, and a CO come and
And
checks
you've got
you,
no idea.
and
Oh,
you
hey.
get your rifle confiscated, and you
Right.
get a ticket
and the game confiscated
because
too,
you
yeah.
never knew because it wasn't printed in the and you took the effort because you're a good sportsman. You read that state
Right.
game book front to
See,
back
I
like
never
you do
saw
every
that in
year.
there. Well, that changed.
Yeah, you adhered by those laws, which they forgot to write on their derelict.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's yeah. it's a
Poo
bummer.
on you, Indiana State
It's a bummer.
game.
Dirty little Hoosiers.
Or I don't know who's.
But it
fault
always
is,
does
but-
fall on the sportsman to know any rule or updated rule, whether it's printed or not.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's tough.
You have a responsibility.
Nowadays,
know.
you have the information right there. So
Right.
I guess if you're going to hunt an area, don't take other people's word for it.
Right.
Because that can get you in trouble. That's a big thing.
I wonder
too.
if people were
it's
getting
legal
shot
to do this
or
now.
houses were getting
Yeah.
hit. Yeah. Oh.
Oh no, he was just agreeing with what I was saying.
I think I had a rogue yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's your responsibility. Don't take hearsay. Look in the book. Check. Call DNR
Look
officer.
in the book
an agent.
when it's not written
Yeah.
in the book.
Well, sometimes you gotta look more than the book. I
There's
guess
so many fine lines. Like down here, you're allowed to use a pistol in the shotgun zone.
that's a toughie, man. That whole,
but it has to be a straight-walled pistol cartridge. They make pistols that can shoot a 7 mag. They make
Well, you're
pistols-
allowed to use a rifle.
Oh,
with a
5.57?
straight-walled cartridge.
right, as long as it's under 1.8
Right.
overall length.
right.
There's just so
buy
many
a good slug gun and forget about it.
good slug
Or
gun
muzzle loader.
or muzzleloader.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a first thing. If you're gonna buy only one gun in Michigan, get yourself a muzzleloader. Get yourself a nice inline muzzleloader, and you're gonna be able to shoot.
yeah.
You can reach out to 200 plus yards with a nice muzzleloader and a good scope.
not going to find that in Michigan, but it's nice to know you can do that.
Oh, you can find that out in some open fields. It's not common though.
Right. But yeah, it's,
Some people need that second shot, though, Ryan. How are you going to drive deer?
Yeah.
You have to look like the Civil War out there. Just
Did I tell you the story?
there.
I shot at a deer 3 times with the muzzleloader.
Yeah,
because
yep.
I shot at a deer 3 times with the
Anybody,
muzzleloader.
anybody that wants that story in detail, I'll tell you to go back to, I believe it's episode 3 of the Deer Hunter podcast. You can get
Oh, I
that
told
story in great detail.
That was
Just-
a fun story.
of all stupid
It's a
rules,
fun experience.
I don't know if Pennsylvania's changed it, but in muzzleloading season, you're only allowed to use a flintlock muzzleloader with patch and ball, and the
No
barrel
way.
must have a 1 66-inch twist.
Get out of town.
And it's been a while since I looked in the book, but unless they
You
change
gotta
it.
be chewing big red when you shoot.
Yeah.
And you can only wear plaid.
Yeah, that's
It's gotta be red plaid though.
Thompson Center
Safety.
specifically made a muzzleloader called the Pennsylvania Hunter, which
Really?
had
Get
all
out
those
of town.
credentials to meet that requirement.
Wow.
that's ridiculous.
That'd be a
Nebra-
cool gun to get a hold of, probably.
Yeah.
I think Nebraska, you're allowed to use a muzzleloader, but with no scope. It's either Nebraska or Colorado.
Iron sights only.
We're not even going to get into this topic
Oh,
of
yeah.
muzzle loading because I am so excited. We're going to do a whole episode on muzzle
I love
loading.
muzzle loading.
And we'll do it like
It's a good one.
towards the end of November.
Get-
Before, good week before or
Opener.
you know,
Pre-muzz.
pre-muzz. But we're setting up for we're fixing for a big muzzleloader camp in late December in northern Michigan, and I'm
yeah.
pretty damn excited about it. So let's talk about real quick. We kind of covered small properties. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything on that? Don't hunt them. Don't hunt them. Don't hunt them in October.
Yeah,
Don't
stay
hunt
out.
small properties.
Yeah.
Find public land, hit that up. It's-
Yeah, I would
utilize
say
it.
if you've got a nice piece of private and you know that's not getting pressure, yeah, you don't want
Go jog and
Right,
walk
well,
your dog.
like Infalt said, you are the pressure.
to. Mm-hmm.
So if you got a small parcel and you're hunting it every day, guess what? It's pressured to shit because you're
Yeah.
out there every day.
Right.
You're going
Right.
to bleed it dry.
Leave a trail cam out. Don't check it.
Yep.
I like to go in and check it when I hunt, and that's it.
It'd be nice to have one to put out. It's just like a giveaway. You know, you put it out there, and you're not going to touch it again until January 1st. And
Well,
then
you know what I do? I've got that reader now. It's not. I know that you partnered up with Common Hunter.
Common Hunter.
I bought one. It's not a Common Hunter. I'm not happy with it, but it does work. So I
You're
bring
the
it.
uncommon hunter.
I'm the uncommon hunter. So I go to my trail cam before I hunt. I grab my card and I climb up in the tree and I import all the pictures while I'm sitting in my tree, being quiet, and I will erase the card, put it in my pocket, and then when I get down from my tree, I plug it back in. That's how I like to use it now.
You love that Common Hunter, right?
Yeah.
I need to get
I
one.
don't know what they sell for, but whatever they're selling for.
Do you have it with you?
I do. It's probably in my truck.
I'd like to try it.
You got a card you can put?
They're
you have a
they're
card?
great. So I'll just say this because I forgot to really mention on the last couple podcasts. Guys messaged in a bunch of questions about those Common Hunter cards readers because they had the same issues that you
I
did.
hate it. Oh, you only can look at them. You have to download the image to look at a full view of it.
So
which
Common
is
Hunter,
horrible.
when you put your card in, it partners with an app. It brings everything up as a thumbnail that you can look at it, videos and photos. You can click on them individually in and out, and then you can swipe left or right. You can go through all the photos.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Common Hunter's got it for you,
I'm
dude.
so disappointed in my
Where's their
$20 purchase.
Where's their? Do we have their information on? I don't think their
I'm so cheap. I haven't bought one
information's
yet.
on the website, but
Lifestyle Lost might have them.
they're on Instagram, and I'm sure if you just Google Common Hunter,
I need to talk to those guys to see if they make one for the new. I have a newer Samsung phone that has a USB Type-C connector.
The Type-C.
Type-C. It's got Hep C, so I need to see if I can use it to talk to my
I took a
SD card.
test for hepatitis. I kicked ass. I got 2 A's, a B, and a C.
yeah, that thing's awesome. I didn't know that I'd have a big use for it, but the first time I used it, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And if you like posting any of your photos to like social media or stuff, or you want to share them with your friends, you can just share it, screenshot it. Whereas if you're on a computer, you got to transfer
I
the
can't tell you
file
how
or
many
email
photos
the
I've got
file
from
to your
buddies that they've
phone.
snapped it off of the screen. It's so annoying.
It doesn't look
You
great.
guys might have done it.
I do it.
Oh, it's like, what is that
I'll
grainy?
tip anybody off that is going to do that. Go into a room and shut all the lights off. And then if you take the pictures of your screen, it
better.
actually looks pretty good. You don't get all the... You know,
Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm just glad you're wearing clothes in your reflection when the
Yeah.
videos.
yeah. I know. I see myself in them. It's just like, whatever. It is what it is. I don't have time.
Give them your best duck lip face.
Uploaded one after the shower.
That we'll get them up on the website.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them tomorrow. But what I did want to talk about, one of the last things just here in closing, is the website, deerhunterpodcast.com. I'm not going to ask a whole lot, I don't think, of our listener audience. We talked earlier in one of the last episodes about getting sponsors and things like that. And I don't think we're going to at any point. I suppose that could change, but I don't see... After seeing what offers are and how they work back and forth and having some conversations, I don't think we'd be able to do this show the way that we want to do it if we take on financial sponsors. But what we will do is take on show affiliates, people that listen to our show, like it the way it is, and they don't want to have any kind of management role. They just want to partner up with us for us to drive traffic potentially to what they're selling. And we're going to do it with companies that we like and that we're already using their stuff. And what we're going to do is try to provide our listener base with a place that they can go to get all this stuff discounted, which is deerhunterpodcast.com. So our show affiliates are up there. Pretty much all of them up there have 10 to 20% discounts.
Yeah.
The links are there. If anybody's interested in any of that stuff, that's how you can help support this show. Is by going into there. You can subscribe to, if you scroll down to the bottom of the website, Bomber's done it. I'd love to see.
This is news to me.
I'd love to see the guys that
Show me how to do it.
I was the one guy that did something.
you go
for
to
a change.
deerhunterpodcast.com, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and it says subscribe. You just put in your name and your email.
Yep.
I guess I never had
thought
the
I
patience to
did
make it all the way to the bottom of the page.
Well, there's more reason to go there now because we're getting more and more affiliates.
Right, and there we'll have I know with the one affiliate we just added now, we added Scree Camouflage. They're a mountaineering company that makes some really nice camo. And when you click that link, it drives traffic to their website, and will eventually be on the website. So
Yeah, Scree.
using that portal to get to Scree's website, you'll earn 10% off with our discount code of Deer Hunter Podcast, and it helps us because you're driving. It shows Scree that you came from our site to purchase the product.
Right.
So.
It's just a
Nice.
working relationship where it's
Right.
like, hey, We'll help you out. You help us out.
And so it'll, you'll get 10% off. We get a little bit of a kickback by driving traffic to their website, so it doesn't cost you anymore. You're actually saving money, and it's a great way to support the show without ever having to influence, like, not saying that like a sponsor would ever come in here and influence our views, because that's just not going to happen.
We're too lame.
We're not
People are-
professional enough to
Right.
for
No.
to
Nobody. I don't think
we
we're gonna
gotta-
have that problem.
I realized pretty quickly
No.
we're gonna have to figure out another route here.
Yeah, if you haven't realized,
There'll be
people aren't
fisticuffs.
very well filtered around here, so.
We're becoming more refined with age.
yeah.
Matthew's probably gonna be sending a is
No.
not
Free
gonna be-
bows? We're not.
Oh,
no.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Matthews?
I like those.
But yeah, eventually we're going to get to the site to the point where any of our affiliates, you can go through that. Go to our site, you'll see the affiliates, and that'll drive the traffic. to their
What that
sites.
small amount of money that is going to influx in is going to help us to do is just cover the overhead for the show, and then we'd like to make some hats and sweatshirts and T-shirts. And if people start interacting with the site and it starts making a little bit of money, I'm not against making better stuff. My wife's been messing around with merino fabrics. I'm not against like making like a nice merino hoodie. Like it'll at some spot have a small emblem of the Deer Hunter podcast on there, but we'll make a piece of clothing that's functional.
Right.
Possibly as well. I mean, we can get some cheaper sweatshirts out too, like this one I'm wearing right now. This is like a $30 hooded sweatshirt. I've had it for years. I absolutely love it. We can get some of these out too, so whatever you want to wear them out to,
I don't think anybody sitting at this bar is expecting to be able to quit their day job at all at any time
This
in
is
their
news
life,
to me. I'm
especially come retirement
I'm leaving
age.
right now.
That's how Ryan's been convincing Chrissy to let him come.
Yeah, someday we're gonna hit it big, babe.
He's like, Kevin
got the
said
lotto.
6 figures by the end of the year.
I'll make sure she doesn't listen to this episode then.
The
Thank
trick
you.
is just walk around with a bunch of papers in your hand very angrily throughout the job.
But yeah, no, I'd like to, make some hats and T-shirts and
Yeah, get some gear
sweatshirts,
out.
some stickers, and so I haven't even made sticker window decals for our trucks because, quite honestly, this is, cost money, and I have family expenses and a household, and I can't just keep throwing, I can't just keep throwing.
There's not an
money at
unlimited
this.
budget for this.
It's very far from it. This is very far from it.
It's a very limited budget.
Yeah.
Have a blanket fund.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do a GoFundMe, see what we can come up with, or Indiegogo or whatever.
See, that's where our 6 figures.
We got to get
comes in.
creative. But so Scree, that's awesome because you like their stuff. I've never personally worn any of it, but you found it beneficial.
I enjoyed their
I wore-
website.
Very good people to work with.
I wore the Scree Hard Scrabble pants in Ohio, and I put those things through the ringer.
How'd they hold up to the Briar?
They did good.
So
I
is it
mean,
more a mobile hunting stuff? Would you say?
Just
Do they have like heavy puffies and things
Yeah,
like that?
they have a
Yeah.
whole layering system.
Oh, they do.
And the one thing that I noticed Scree does that most companies do not do is they do a bundle system.
I love that.
Yeah.
where
I
you
love
can,
that.
like, if say you wanted to buy, like, you're the guy that has to have, I want this camo pattern, everything to be that camo pattern. You can go to Scree and for like, I forget what their bundle kit is. It's like $1,500 or $1,400. It's-
$1,400 on sale for $1,200 right now. I
you
think.
get like
Yeah.
literally 20.
and we get 10% discount
Yeah.
off of that.
Yeah.
if you use
so.
Deer Hunter podcast, it's 10%.
I think it's just Deer
Screaming
Hunter,
deal,
isn't it?
I think.
Or is it Deer Hunter
it's Deer Hunter
podcast?
podcast.
Well, the link will be on deerhunter.com. All you have to do is click on the emblems there, and that'll take you to the site. And then right there on the podcast, I'm not sure. We're playing around with how we're laying it out right now, but there will be links to Scree and to the promotional code for the discount.
But the way they bundle their system, like if you bought their top tier bundle, it's everything you need. It's the merino base layer. You get the early season pants, the late season pants, the puffy jacket, the
Rainwear.
shell jacket, the rain gear,
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, it's
hats.
awesome system.
It's
belt.
literally
I think you even get a belt with
you
it.
get a belt. Everything you could think
get a
to
belt.
buy. Like
Yeah.
if you're like the beginner hunter that has a lot of money in their bank account and just
It's
wants
actually
to go
for
like,
that system.
it's
that
not
price.
much. It's not.
It's a
very
good price
affordable.
for-
I feel
What do people pay for a good duck hunting shotgun? If you're going to be bow hunting, it's
I
Yeah.
spent when I bought my Prime Shift when it came out, it was $1,400 by the time I walked out of the pro shop.
I don't know
With
if I'll ever spend that much on a bow again.
Well, it was. My wife was pregnant with my daughter.
Good move.
And I knew it was the last
move.
time I would buy a nice bow until she was in college, probably. So I was like, I'm going big. Well, I still can.
Oh my
I spent
gosh.
more money on camo than the actual bow I used.
Yeah.
$175 for 50-year-old recurve.
So
But check out Scree. It's SKRE, and
I
we'll
like their
have the
stuff.
link on our site.
Cool
Yeah.
patterns.
Yep.
Looks like quality stuff. I haven't tried it. I was so close to pulling the trigger when they put the stuff on sale with the discount.
It's a sharp
So
looking hoodie.
close.
I'd try them out.
I should try them out.
Mm-hmm.
I
what
should try
what
'em.
pattern are you wearing there on your jacket, Russ? What is that? Is that
Real tree.
Real Tree? So we got Gander Mountain Special, Scree,
Long live Gander Mountain.
Sika, and flannel pattern, all here, all on our video feed.
Yep.
So
Can you see us?
All right.
other new affiliates. I don't think you guys even know about this. People will have listened to the podcast by now. Heather's Choice.
Yep.
That
Oh,
I
yeah.
did a podcast with. She makes like a lot of dehydrated backpacking food, and
Like good food.
Right.
Not like Mountain House is edible when you're out there. It's nice to have the hot meal.
it'll
but
give you calories and it tastes
Yeah.
pretty good, right?
But Heather's Choice is like,
Lower sodium and
it's like a good meal.
Yeah, it's like home cooking, dehydrated and put in a bag. Dark chocolate buffalo chili, smoked salmon chowder. She makes all kinds of
Nice.
different stuff, and so her link will be on our site as well. And there's the promotional code will be on there. The promotional code is Deer Hunter. So anybody that wants any food from Heather's Choice, if you would go through deerhunter.com to do that, it helps us out greatly. And she's pretty awesome. So it's I like her a lot. And as a young entrepreneur, I'm like happy to support what she's doing because I don't think a lot of people could put in the work and the effort that it would take. I mean, could you
Right.
imagine going through the ringer of criteria to make and sell food?
Oh, it would be a pain. It
Yeah.
would be brutal.
yeah, and then trying it, getting a recipe together, putting it out there, see what the outcome is, whether to give it a green light or not.
Right.
It's a lot of
What you just slid me, we can mention Hawk. We don't have any discount with them. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
after the new year, we might be able to work something out because guys have messaged in and say, "Don't spend the money on the stand. You'll be frustrated. They don't have the adjustability with that Lone Wolf does." Well, I understand that, but I like to have some preset stands throughout the
They
year
have a good
too.
price point.
They have
Yeah.
a great price point, and guys have said that the steps are awesome.
That's what
that
I'm
they
thinking
really
going
like
with.
the steps, and the stand is really nice too. It just doesn't have the adjustability for.
Crookedness.
It does have a seat adjustability. Am I correct?
Yes, it's got like a turnbuckle adjustment, so you could adjust the
On the helium.
Yep, on the helium, you could adjust the angle of that seat. I think the Combat has it also.
Mm-hmm.
So-
The one nice stand I noticed they made was the Explorer.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
It's got it comes with, you get the stand, and it comes with two brackets that have a ratchet strap weave through them or something. It's like integrated, so you can just carry up the tree, the ratchet strap. You got the stand on your back, and you ratchet strap it down, and it's got a bracket right on
Yep.
it that the stand just drops right into, and then you're done. So you don't have to fight the weight of the stand at all. When
Lone
you're
Wolf's
hanging
got a
there.
similar system.
Yeah, the hook and hang
Mhm.
feel. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like that idea. It's a little safer. It's a lot easier than struggling trying to hold a stand up while you're reaching a strap around. And
But anybody that's messing around with these mobile, get a lineman belt. Don't do it without a lineman belt and a harness.
yeah,
I know Dan Infault doesn't do it, but
He's an animal. He literally
Right.
chases skunks around for
I
fun.
probably
He's
So,
chase
part
raccoons
raccoon.
up trees and stuff.
yeah, he is a wild animal.
so get a
But-
lineman belt.
Yeah, wear your harness in the tree and
Right.
use a lineman belt.
The
You feel
last,
pretty safe with that.
the last one I wanted to say is that Caveman Coffee hooked us up,
Ooh,
Yeah.
and
they did.
they're gonna help support our show.
With
Essentially
coffee,
by
keep us
just
fueled.
keeping us caffeinated. Yeah,
We know you guys can talk for a while.
They
so this will
saw-
help you talk longer.
The two owners of Caveman Coffee are Tate Fletcher, who's a Michigan guy. I think he lives out in New Mexico or Arizona or Texas now or something. He's an actor. He's one of Joe Rogan's close friends. And then the other owner is Keith Jardine, the MMA fighter that was, I don't know, he was fighting for titles if it was 10 years ago now or whatever. But those two crazy savages own a coffee company, and then Lacey Mackey runs it for them. And I'd reached out to her a while back, and she had saw some of our Instagram posts of us making coffee out in the teepee and shit. Yeah. And
nice.
She thought that was pretty cool, and she sent a boatload of coffee over here to us, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm liking it
I'll have to try some of that stuff.
So I had it's not bitter, right?
No, it's
Pretty
really smooth.
So Bomberito, the voice of N Bomber that you're hearing right now, would be the coffee aficionado of the Deer Hunter podcast.
When it comes to rifles and coffee, there's nobody I trust more.
So what's your take on this stuff? Because we'll say up front, right, it's substantially more expensive than any other coffee that you've probably likely purchased. What is that bag? Is it 16 ounces?
12.
It's 12 ounces, and it's like $20 a bag, basically.
Yeah, $20 a bag with a 10%. We have if you use promotional code Deer Hunter, we have a 10% discount. So if you're the kind of person that likes to put like a bunch of French vanilla creamer in your coffee, it's probably not worth your investment. If you like Speedway gas station coffee, it's probably not worth your money. But if you like a better cup of coffee, the shit is friggin' top notch.
Oh yeah.
I earlier today I was out here and he like just let the air out of a bag, and I was like, "What is that smell? It smells amazing."
So do they brine coffee beans? How is that flavor so different?
Depends on.
I was thinking that they must soak it in something and that it uptakes a little bit of characteristics from some way or another. Because I don't see how it's possible for that coffee to taste so much different than any other coffee that I ever drank.
That I have to do more reading on. Not that I know of. I don't think they do any soaking. It depends on the area, the air, the soil, the roasting process, how soon it,
Right.
Like a lot. Time plays a big factor. Like if you're buying like a tub of ground coffee, and it's already ground and you're mixing it up, you're missing out on a good percentage of that flavor that was eliminated after the first 15 minutes of that grinding.
Yeah, because you only now, and I've hassled the shit out of you for a while about it, made fun of you, but for how long now have you only been buying whole bean coffee?
Oh, geez. Probably a couple years now.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer, switching from every morning I get up and there's a bunch of stupid steps. Like you don't have to be that committed, but I fall down a rabbit hole and I get committed to.
See, you're nodding your head whether or not you were the coffee aficionado and listen to you already.
Like, I don't have like a $1,000 coffee machine or anything. I just got like a $50 Mr. Coffee, no burner, but like a insulated carafe. And I found a couple cool little shortcuts I got to get the full flavor of the coffee. Like if you're gonna grind it, you want to brew it within 15 minutes before you let it sit too long, because you're going to be compromising the flavor.
So there's something that happens, that bean is like sealed, right? There's like some type of preventative thing, whatever.
Yeah, they got that. I think it's like a one-way vent on there, because those beans they give off like a little bit of I think it's CO2. It gives off some, and when you actually if you do like a pour over, it almost looks like the coffee like kind of swells, like they call it a bloom. When you're doing like a pour over on some fresh grounds, and that's actually the CO2 like releasing and getting that flavor out.
What if your coffee's a late bloomer?
That's not possible. She's gonna be good looking in 12th grade. Post. Edit.
But they do make MCT oil too.
They have a lot
do.
of cool stuff on their site, actually, and I don't know, I like their whole brand a lot. I like that Tate Fletcher was a Michigan guy. He's if you want to hear about Tate, you can go on Joe Rogan podcast and find an episode or two of Tate Fletcher, and he's a really cool dude. And I don't know, I was just happy and excited to get our hands on it, and then it kind of held up to everything that I was anticipating. I would say more. And if you're like a coffee aficionado and you like a good cup of coffee, man, even if you want to buy one bag for like around Christmas time and just give yourself a treat.
Yeah, there's
I don't-
nothing wrong with being a coffee snob.
No, it's nice. I got.
Enjoy some finer things in life, you know.
Right.
It's nice enjoying a good brew out in the tent in the woods.
Yeah,
Well,
and
what
I'll
do we
say
spend
too,
on
I
six
mean,
packs of
I,
beer nowadays.
I
you know?
won't drink like,
$11 for this
I
stuff.
kind of cut the line at like Speedway coffee, but I love a cup of Tim Hortons coffee.
Yeah.
But I've been drinking this stuff all week, and I stopped
awesome.
at Starbucks yesterday,
Ugh,
and
Starbucks.
I would have swore that they strainered it through horse shit or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. It just tasted like dog shit.
I
It was so bitter.
That's
I
the
never
thing.
liked Starbucks coffee that much,
No.
so I'll, you know.
The only thing I like about Starbucks coffee is you can get Kerrygold butter there.
Yeah.
So if you're into the whole butter in your coffee thing, that's nice about Starbucks.
Yeah.
Water
When you're on the
temperature.
go.
Water temperature in your grind is going to pay a lot into it. You know, try to between 195 and 205. You don't want to undercook your water, but you don't want to boil the shit out of your coffee. It's a big thing.
I don't know who the hell's measuring their water temperature when they're making
I just
coffee.
go when the
but
jet boil flames yellow, then I know that's when you dump it.
yeah,
in.
that backwoods coffee setup is pretty badass, right? So it's a jet boil, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
pour in how many ounces of water?
I was filling ours up to
Cups.
like 16 ounces.
And you got a hand grinder.
Yeah, I wish I knew the name of the company. It's just like a
I
probably inch
wish
and
you
a half.
did too, because I'd like to get my own.
Yeah, it's like an inch and a half diameter grinder. It's almost similar to like a pepper mill grinder, but with a removable handle, so you could put it in your backpack. It's super stowable. I've taken on lots of trips, a lot of camping trips, but it's a burr grinder. It doesn't have blades or anything. It's the same concept as a pepper mill grinder. It's got a ceramic burr on the bottom that just grinds the beans, and you could adjust it. You know, finer grind. You could actually make espresso with it if you wanted to.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll grind that up, get the jet boil rip roaring, in less than 2 minutes we got our water boiling, and I don't got a thermometer, but I'll give it like maybe a good 30 seconds after I shut it off once it boils, and pour that in there. Amount of grinds you want, let it sit and steep, and then hit the old jet boil French press, push her down.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, the jet boil with the French press and the fresh ground coffee in the tent in the morning. I mean, it's just, I don't know how you can beat that. It is such a morale booster, man.
Folgers and
Instant Folgers.
Yeah, Starbucks Via.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even come close.
Right.
what's all the
I mean, I get it if you're backpacking up into the mountains. Maybe it's not all that practical, but for what we're doing, it's a badass option.
Right. The Vias are great for their own thing, but you can get.
for cutting weight, they're nice.
Obviously, I need some coffee right now, but if you can get fresh ground coffee out in the backwoods on a cold morning, man,
Yeah.
it's something spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm addicted. It's not that much longer. I mean, it's just kind of something to get up and get going, moving in the morning.
Yeah. And this stuff's not like real strong,
No.
real bitter. It's kind of milder, right?
Yeah, I would say so. There's no bitter aftertaste.
There's a light roast, a medium roast, and a dark roast. Saber tooth. I love the saber tooth. I love the dark roast.
That's
but
my
with
favorite.
I-
Saber.
And Shannon didn't know this. I've known this for a little while. I don't remember where I found it out, but actually lighter roast
More
coffees
caffeine.
have more caffeine. The longer you roast the bean, the more it removes the caffeine
Yep.
from the bean, right?
That's right.
So darker coffees, heavier roast, less caffeine.
Yeah, like a French roast or something like that.
Right. Which
I'm-
is, you'd think maybe the opposite because they taste so strong and whatnot. But
Right.
so these have a lot of caffeine, but they're not like real super strong.
Yeah, it's been good drinking it this week. It was nice.
Sweet. That's the last one of our new affiliates there, and all that stuff's on the website. And so, did you guys? I know you came up with yours.
Yeah.
I know you said you gave some thought to yours. Do you have your show alias picked out yet? Have you given any thought to? Are you officially the Rain Man of public land?
I don't know. We had a good one for Drew.
Drew's is locked and stocked. I don't think that's getting any better.
That was pretty
That might
awesome.
have been me.
Yeah, I'm staying with mine.
What's yours?
Good old Uncle Estrus.
Uncle Estrus.
Yeah.
Where are you going this morning, Uncle Estrus? What stand you going to?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that was one that was born on way too few hours of sleep in the morning.
We
in
never
Ohio.
got any sleep there. It seemed like
The only one I can think of, because I'm not out for antlers or whatever. Just I'm contemplating doe duster.
Doe duster. I'm not mad at that.
No, that's a
I'm
good
just-
one.
You guys, I'll shoe the Buckshire away, and
You could think about it. We won't make you commit here right now unless you're ready to. You can think about
I'll
it.
think
I'm gonna finalize mine. I've been thinking about it long and hard. I'm gonna make a little adjustment. Mine's gonna be Swamp Pounder 83.
nice.
It's done. It's set in
83.
stone.
Your
Swamp
boy.
Pounder 83. Just in case there's any other Swamp Pounders out there, I don't want there to be any kind of confusion.
We cross poundings.
I can think a couple of them.
oh man.
Swamp Pounder 83. Lots.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get Uncle Estrus locked in.
You better
I
get
think you're
trademarked.
safe. I think you're safe.
Uncle Estrus.
Yeah, we were
That's
dying
hilarious.
laughing when we came up with that
I
one.
think I broke my toe too.
Yeah.
Russ,
That
you
one
got
I
an
picked up
alias there? No.
Rusty cigarettes.
Rusty McCigarette.
Steve McSick.
Crabby face McRuss.
I don't know. Yeah, it's the only one I can think of right now. Doe duster.
All right. Well, you can reflect on that. And anybody that you know who the guys are that I'm talking to, you've been following the show since day one. You message in daily. You guys got to start working on your aliases here. Because there's I don't know if it's going to be a forum on the website where we can talk about just, throughout the day. Everybody can start a subject like we did today about the lull. And everybody that's listening to the show weekly, you can go on there and we can all just be like a giant group chat. It'll essentially be like Facebook without all the idiots.
Come on.
just a more concentrated group of idiots here.
All right. Thank you.
Let's
Thank
not
you.
give us
Don't give
that much credit.
anybody
To the
false
person
marketing
who
to
drove
this.
down the road and your load of garbage fell off your truck, I hope you know I picked up every single piece and didn't ask for one piece of thanks in return. Just so you know. I'm sure that guy knows.
You nailed it.
Go to sleep.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
All right. I will.
Good luck in the morning, Drew.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, yeah, and once again, please, it helps us out greatly if any of you guys that have been listening to this show and do like the show and want it to continue, it's really important that you go to iTunes and do a ranking or just do a review. It really, really helps this thing keep going. A lot of guys have done it. Ours are funny. If you go there and read them, it's worth going there. Even if you're not gonna, even if you don't want to write a review, if you go to the reviews and read them, there's some real comedians that listen to this show. I will
Our
say
people.
that.
Our people.
Yeah, yeah. We're never going to be the biggest demographic.
No.
No, we're never going to be the most popular deer hunting podcast. There's no way in hell. But we're going to have we're going to be a highly concentrated brew.
And make sure you guys enter the digital deer camp thing too, because obviously the grand prize is to go with us over to Wisconsin for in-fall scouting trip. So you'll get to experience some of the shenanigans firsthand if you.
Oh, jeez.
Yep, a couple guys reached out. I got to confirm with Dan tomorrow. I think he's already going to tell me, chill out, you guys are at your limit, because he wants other people to be at this. But when we released that, a bunch of guys that listen to the show message in. They're like, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so I called Dan and asked him how many spots. I told him how many guys, and we'll talk about this after. I got to make sure who all wants to go, but there's going to be a group of us going.
Yeah.
And it's going to be it's going to be fun.
It'll be pretty rad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
No doubt about that. So, yeah, go to lifestylelost.com
Yep.
and
Digital deer camp tab on the top of their site and
Just
sign up.
Put in your name and your email, and then all the criteria is there. And there's a bunch of badass
Oh
and-
yeah.
Thousands of dollars worth of stuff, honestly.
Yeah. And all you have to do is just tag your Instagram and your Facebook photos of your deer season with Digital Deer Camp, and at the end of the season, we're going to pick some winners. 2 Exodus trail cameras, 2 free, you and a guest to go to Dan Infalt's scouting workshop with us. No cost
Osborne
besides
knives.
your
Yeah,
travel
custom
costs.
knives, custom
grunt call.
grunt calls.
Heather's Choice Food. That's how I got hooked up with her, is
Yeah.
through those guys.
Tap stabilizers.
Yeah, Taps on there.
Common Hunter.
Common Hunter.
Stormy Cromer.
Stormy Cromer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
it's legit.
Those guys do a bang up job of like getting all that stuff organized and getting it out to people. And
Make sure you're telling your buddies too. The more traffic, the better.
yeah, perfect. And that same, I'll say the same about this show too. If you like the show and you've been listening to it, pick up the guy next to you at work's phone, and if he has a podcast app, just subscribe him. Do it while he's not looking. Help us out.
Leave the dick pics that day.
He did it on his own today. He got one.
His boss, his boss that he just started working for, found out that we did the podcast and went right there, and he said he was already listening to it today, right?
Yeah, I listened to your episode when you went to Wisconsin with Alex and you're talking to Dan Infalt in the woods.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
And he comes up, he's like, where were they? They sit in the middle of the woods or something? I'm like, yeah.
You
you
hear the
actually-
birds chirping. and
Yeah.
all that, yeah. It was
Actually-
pretty awesome.
Sitting out in the middle of a state forest in Wisconsin.
Yeah, he seemed like he was digging that.
Yeah,
As soon as I mentioned, Dan Infalt, he got all excited about that.
He knew Dan.
Yeah, Dan, John Eberhardt.
Oh yeah.
sweet. He's a deer hunter then.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
it's word of mouth is still a huge thing. So if you guys are listening to the show, guys and girls, because there's quite a few girls that listen to the show and they message in too
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Our better half.
yeah, Gunner has started listening to the show.
All right.
When Shannon took him to daycare today, he said, "Daddy radio, Daddy radio," and so
Awesome.
guess we're maybe at
Daddy
some point
radio.
might have to start dialing back some of the.
We'll have
Probably not.
No.
I'm just gonna be open and honest with him.
Yeah, he's gonna know eventually, anyways.
Right. There's plenty of sheltered platforms.
probably
that
just
we can listen to.
PG-13.
We'll word it differently.
Yeah. We'll do a kids episode once a year.
A kids episode.
With puppets. Deer Hunter podcast puppets.
Oh, jeez.
It's kind of funny because it's radio.
But any way, shape, or form you can, whether it's on Facebook. If you see one of our Facebook posts, Instagram posts, share them, please, and go to iTunes, do a ranking, a review, and then go to deerhunterpodcast.com and just subscribe. It takes a couple minutes, and take a look at all the links and the discounts and stuff on the website.
Yep. Sounds good.
And we'll keep up to speed here with the rut and deer season here through the next couple weeks and do some live episodes from deer camp. And everybody, great hunting. If you get a good deer, doe, buck, meat buck, whatever, tag us in the photo, let us know.
Yep. Tag us, the podcast, and Digital Deer Camp in it for sure.
Yep, I'd like to
entered
see
in that.
everybody's deer season, and the group of guys that are been here and listening to the show weekly. I find very entertaining. So keep me entertained throughout these miserable work weeks when all I'm doing is thinking about getting out deer hunting. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming over tonight. Thanks everybody for listening, and until next time, stay safe and happy hunting.
Good night.